The 56th Giro D'Italia, the Tour of Italy. The cycle race which this year has been extended for the first time to a semi-tour of Europe. 3,746 kilometers in 20 days. The Tour of Italy starts in Belgium to the Adriatic coast, then back again into the country and up into the Apennines. The 8th lap from Lido by the Adriatic to the little mountain town of Carpegna in the Apennines is a lap which... and Gosta Pettersson. Huysmans keeps up his forceful slogging pace in the lead. And Schoenmaker glues onto his rear wheel, ready to take over when Huysmans is exhausted. The boss himself is running third, with Roger Switz on his tail in reserve. Behind this awesome Flemish phalanx, the field is panicking. Everyone's changing gear, desperately trying to get into the right rhythm and to maintain their place in the line. The field is drawn out like an accordion because of the pace of the leaders ahead. Cavalcanti looks over his shoulder. Where's Gimondi? There's a seat reserved for him right here. Cavalcanti is Gimondi's most unselfish assistant. Now it's really important to be up front among the leaders before the field breaks up. And that's bound to happen soon, the way Merckx is heaping coals on the fire now. Zilioli, Gimondi, and Pettersson. They're all aware something is going to happen soon. For Fuente, the situation is critical. Up front, it's now Schoenmaker's turn, and Huysmans drops back. All the strongest have assembled up front. Now the real climbing starts, and the field begins to crack. It's here that the first elimination takes place, and the public are well aware of it. They know this is the spot for breakthroughs and breakdowns. The pace is grueling among the leaders. Riders get coupled off, one after the other. Fuente loses ground, fouled up by a gear change, and now he's chasing the Merckx group. Merckx himself has taken the lead, but Fuente is closing in on him. Here he overtakes the Olympic champion, Kuiper. And now the Italian veteran, Zilioli. Displaying his brilliant mountaineering style, Fuente continues to close up on Merckx and company. Francesca Moser is overtaken just as easily. Now he's drawing level with Huysmans, Merckx's right-hand man, who has lost ground after his long lead earlier on. Fuente changes gear, passes Huysmans, and keeps up the pace. Now he can see the vanguard. A final surge, and he's up there. The opening round of the fight is over. The decisive eliminations have been made, but stiffer gradients are yet to come. There are 4 in the lead, and the rest are a long way behind. Between the Babotti Mountain and Monte Carpegna, the final and the most feared gradient of the lap, there's a 20-mile stretch of nearly level road. 4 in the lead are Schoenmaker, Merckx, Fuente, and Battaglin. Fuente's rule is never to take a lead. Young Battaglin is the man for that. In his first season as a pro, he's about to confirm his promotion. But Merx prefers not to let others set the pace. He still insists on forcing the field. It's a question of not giving Fuente a breathing space and getting him exhausted before Monte Carpegna. That's Merx's tactics. He sets the pace. He leads in his rhythm. He doesn't let others take the initiative. That's his way of dealing with a mountain specialist and such a temperamental attacker as Fuente. Merx himself, well, he seems tireless. His own teammate, Schoenmaker, is the first to get into trouble when they start climbing again. But he's done a good job. The decisive phase has begun. The decisive hardships. Now the going is really painful. And there are only 3 left. Schoenmaker is left behind. Is Fuente waiting, saving his resources for a breakout further on? Hardly, because Merx is unmerciful. He's torturing his fellow travelers with this unceasing, back-breaking pull in his typical robust style. He's got into a rhythm which forces the others to give all they've got, a pace which makes hanging onto his rear wheel an endurance test, a torment. Battaglin takes a lead. There's the timekeeper driving by with the message that the trio now leads the field by 3 minutes. Merx draws up to Battaglin and then increases the pace a notch. Fuente has a hard time keeping up. Fuente has got to yield. That was the death blow. Here we have Fuente, outdistanced. José Manuel Fuente, one of the few authentic mountain racers in the classical tradition. For him, this lap is developed into a martyr's journey, a path of suffering. A spurt in the mountains, Merx in front of Battaglin. The penultimate summit is rounded. And from here, there's a very steep climb, the last bit of Monte Carpegna. A gradient of 22%, 1 in 4. For the 2 leading riders, it's a fight for endurance. Each turn of the pedals, every single meter gained, hurts. The most beautiful and the most pathetic pictures to be seen in the sport of cycling deal with superhuman efforts in classical terrain. Merx is shaking off his last opponent. Merx alone out front. And he continues alone, pumping energy down into the pedals. Alone with his body, his ambition, his rhythm. Eddy Merckx, first over the top of Monte Carpegna. In second place, Battaglin, 45 seconds later. And 4 minutes later, Zilioli. Another minute later, Gimondi, Pesserodona, Motta, Vittoria, and Panizza. Today's loser, Fuente, suffering from painful cramps at the goal line. He got home as number 32, nearly 10 minutes after Merx. But many other riders besides Fuente had a rough time on Monte Carpegna.